Welcome to the world of Lord of the Mysteries. This is the first volume of Lord of the Mysteries Klein. The story is set in a transmigration narrative, with the protagonist being Jominre, an ordinary keyboard warrior from Earth. For the past month he's been incredibly unlucky, losing his phone, losing clients, and experiencing a string of misfortunes. Jominre decides to perform a ritual to change his luck, as described in a book he bought from a street stall. However, after the ritual, nothing seems to happen. But that very night, while asleep, Jominre suddenly feels a sharp pain in his head. Awakening, Jominre is shocked by what he sees. The room is decorated in a classic Western style, with wall lamps, a desk, a notebook, and a revolver on the table. Memories that don't belong to him flood his mind. He has transmigrated, and it's with both his memories from before transmigration and the memories of his current host. Moreover, the body he transmigrated into had just committed suicide. Looking at himself in the mirror, a gruesome wound is visible at his temple, and yet it's healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. He opens the host notebook, and the words, "Everyone will die, including me," are starkly written on the page. Jominre feels he needs to calm down. Recalling the memories of his host, Jominre learns that his current identity is Klein, a history graduate from Hoi University in the Kingdom of LotM, orphaned and now living in a small rented apartment with his older brother and younger sister. But Jominre believes he transmigrated because of the luck-changing ritual and thinks he might be able to return to his original world by performing the ritual again. So, the next day, Jominre goes to the streets to purchase the materials needed for the luck-changing ritual. On the way, he encounters a woman using tarot cards for fortune-telling. Seeing tarot cards exactly like those from Earth, and learning that the woman is willing to give him a free reading, Jominre becomes interested. He draws a card, and it turns out to be the Fool, card number 0 in the tarot deck. Just as the fortune teller is about to interpret the card, someone shouts, accusing the fortune teller in the room of being a fake, disguised as a beast tamer. Amused and exasperated, but Jominre decides not to linger in this farce and quickly returns home to begin the luck-changing ritual. However, as the ritual concludes, he not only fails to return to Earth, but instead finds himself in a boundless, misty, and mysterious space. It is eerily quiet here, with only endless gray fog slowly surging, as if time and space have lost all meaning. In this mysterious gray fog space, by chance, Jominre pulls two other people in with him: Audrey Hall, a count's daughter of prominent status, and Alger Wilson, the captain of a ghost ship belonging to the Church of Storms. Looking at the two terrified figures before him, but Jominre is equally bewildered and at a loss. But he quickly calms down, deciding to maintain a mysterious persona in front of them, attempting to understand this new world and to glean useful information from their words. With a thought from Jominre, a magnificent temple rises from the gray fog. He sits at the head of a long table that appears, striving to project an air of inscrutable mystery, despite his heart being filled with doubt and unease. Audrey and Alger, witnessing this scene, become even more convinced that Jominre before them is unfathomable and immensely powerful. Feeling no malice from him, they gradually relax a little. Jominre, recalling the Fool card he had just drawn, interlocks his fingers, a slight smile curving his lips, and says to the two of them, "You may call me the Fool." The young lady Audrey, filled with curiosity about the mysterious things before her, excitedly inquires about Beyonders. Alger, not daring to trouble the mysterious Fool with such basic questions, readily offers to answer Audrey's questions. From Alger's words, Jominre gains a preliminary understanding of this world. He learns that this world is in the 5th epoch, the Black Iron Age. Humans obtain potion formulas through blasphemous tablets. By drinking potions, they can gain extraordinary powers and become Beyonders. Beyonders have 9 sequences, from sequence 9 to sequence 1, with sequence 9 being the lowest and sequence 1 the highest. And there are 22 such sequence pathways in total, known as the 20 Godly Pathways. Under the witness of Mr. Fool, Audrey and Alger complete a transaction for the sequence 9, Spectator, potion formula. Audrey, filled with excitement, suggests to Miss Fool that such gatherings could be held regularly. This proposal is exactly what Jominre desires, as he wants to seize this opportunity to obtain more information, and he readily agrees, deciding to hold gatherings regularly every week. Audrey and Alger also choose their respective codenames from the major arcana of the tarot cards. Audrey chooses Miss Justice, and Alger chooses the Hanged Man, thus a mysterious organization filled with endless possibilities. The Tarot Club, is officially born. After exiting the gray fog space, the mysterious smile on Jomire's face instantly vanishes, replaced by a look of dejection. The luck-changing ritual did not work. He knows he cannot return for the time being, and can only helplessly accept reality. From this moment on, he also begins to accept his new identity. Klein. Since this is the case, he must figure out why Klein chose to commit suicide before his transmigration, and why he wrote the sentence, "Everyone will die, including me." To resolve this unsettling issue, Klein, having just exited the gray fog space, begins to read through the diaries of his predecessor. From the diaries, he learns two things. First, that recently his friend Welch had obtained a notebook from the Fourth Epoch, belonging to the antagonist family, and had invited Klein and another classmate to study it together. Second, that all his memories from the day before his transmigration are missing. He simply cannot recall why he would have written the sentence in the notebook. "Everyone will die, including me." Just as Klein is considering going to Welch's house to search for answers, a series of knocks interrupts his thoughts. To his surprise, it's 3 policemen. It turns out that his 2 companions who studied the notebook with him have also committed suicide. The police have come to Klein specifically to investigate these suicides. Due to Klein's amnesia, the police don't gain much information and can only leave for the time being. Before departing, the young police officer says to Klein, "You're lucky. Generally speaking, when something like this happens, it's normal for everyone involved to die at the time." This police officer is named Dunn Smith, and his true identity is a Beyonder of the Church of the Evernight Goddess, a Sequence 7 Beyonder known as a Nightmare. That night, to confirm whether Klein is lying, Dunn uses his Beyonder powers to enter Klein's dream for investigation. He also brings in Daly, a Sequence 7 Beyonder psychologist, to verify. After confirming that Klein is not lying, they clear him of suspicion. On the way back, Dunn invites Klein to join the Nighthawks, as Nighthawks specialize in handling extraordinary events, and Klein's background as a history graduate is exactly the kind of talent they need. From Dunn, Klein gains a further understanding of Beyonders in this world. While Beyonders gain extraordinary abilities, they also bear the risk of losing control. Once a potion loses control, the Beyonder themselves will transform into a monstrous being. Among the cases handled by the Nighthawks, a quarter of them involve dealing with teammates who have lost control. This is the origin of the phrase that runs throughout Volume 1. We are guardians, but also a group of pitiful wretches constantly fighting against danger and madness. After a night of contemplation, Klein decides to join the Nighthawk team. Captain Dunn gives Klein a brief introduction to sealed artifacts. He explains that besides Beyonders with extraordinary powers, the world also contains sealed artifacts imbued with mysterious forces. These sealed artifacts are classified into 4 levels from 0 to 3, with level 0 representing the highest danger level, only to be sealed deep beneath cathedrals. Level 1 sealed artifacts are highly dangerous, but can be utilized in a limited manner. Level 2 are dangerous and require cautious and controlled use. Level 3 artifacts have some danger, and can only be applied for when missions involve 3 or more personnel. Speaking of this, Dunn hands a photograph to Klein. It turns out that the former Archbishop, Ince Zangul, a Sequence 5 Key of Stars, failed his advancement ritual and fled with sealed artifact to Zoo 08. At this point, Klein has no idea that he will later develop an inextricable enmity with this fugitive. While reading documents related to Beyonders in the Church of the Evernight Goddess archives, Klein accidentally sees his colleague Old Neil researching Rosal the Great's diaries. Because the symbols on them are too unique, no one has yet been able to decipher the true meaning of the diaries. However, upon seeing Rosal the Great's diaries, Klein is astonished. These symbols, which have been studied for years without result, are actually Chinese, a language he is most familiar with. This confirms to Klein that he is not the first person to transmigrate to this world. Through the diary entries, Klein learns 2 things first. Rosal the Great regretted not choosing the seer or apprentice pathway initially, and second, that the acting method can accelerate potion digestion, reducing and even eliminating the risk of Beyonder loss of control. This is a huge gain for Klein. In the subsequent Tarot Club meeting, Klein shares the acting method with Miss Justice and Mr. Hanch Mann, and asks them to help him collect Rosal the Great's diaries. It is also because of the acting method that Mish Fool becomes even more unfathomable in their eyes. One night, Captain Dunn suddenly entered Klein's dream, reminding him that someone had infiltrated his home. Having been warned, Klein used his gun to control the intruder, and subsequently, the captain took action to subdue him. It turned out that the person was from the Secret Order, a mysterious and dangerous organization whose members are mostly Beyonders with a fanatical pursuit of mysticism and extraordinary power. His infiltration of Klein's home was precisely to seek clues regarding the Anagonis family notebook. This Anagonis family notebook was the very cause of the original host's death. The original host, Klein, had committed suicide after reading this notebook due to being influenced by extraordinary factors. Following this incident, Klein possessed the authority to choose to become a Beyonder. As mentioned previously, the blasphemy slate records a total of 22 pathways to godhood. Once a pathway is chosen, it becomes difficult to change. If one were to consume potions from other pathways during this time, they would lose control and become a monster. At this juncture, Klein unhesitatingly chose the Seer pathway. After consuming the potion concocted by Old Neil, Klein formally became a Sequence 9 Beyonder, a Seer. On the other side, Miss Justice, having obtained the Spectator Potion formula through the Tarot Club, also became a Sequence 9 Beyonder, a Spectator. Coincidentally, Miss Justice's golden retriever, Susie, also consumed some of this potion. Thus, both woman and dog began their acting journey as spectators. Meanwhile, Alger, Mr. Hanged Man, setting sail as the captain of the Blue Avenger ghost ship, departed on the seas. Klein, on his part, entered a divination club, commencing his role, playing as a seer. Not long after, the Nighthawk team received a commission. The son of a tobacco merchant had been kidnapped, and his whereabouts remained unknown. Through the divination of the seer Klein, the kidnapper's hideout was easily located. However, the matter did not conclude there. Klein received a revelation in a dream indicating that the long, missing Anagonis family notebook was located in the room opposite the kidnapper's hideout. Klein immediately reported this to the captain, and the entire Nighthawk team mobilized. Although they were unable to find the notebook, they obtained clues from the room, roughly determining that the notebook was in the possession of a person named Real Bia. In order to apprehend this individual and locate the notebook, Captain Dunn submitted an application to headquarters for the use of sealed artifact 2049. During the period of waiting for the sealed artifact application to be approved, Klein, drawing inspiration from ritualistic magic, created a unique incantation belonging to the Fool. The Fool who does not belong to this era. You are the mysterious ruler above the gray fog. You are the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. Before long, Klein welcomed his first commission as a seer. Mrs. Annie's fiancé had been at sea and had not returned for an extended period. Mrs. Annie, filled with anxiety, earnestly requested Klein to divine the safety of Joyce, her fiancé. Klein utilized his divination abilities and, after a period of focused deduction, arrived at the conclusion that Joyce would return safely. Later, Joyce visited Klein, recounting the tragic incident that had occurred on the Miss Leto steamship. It turned out that the Miss Leto had encountered a mysterious disaster during its voyage. The majority of the crew members on board had died inexplicably, with only a few survivors. Joyce, recalling the scenes at the time, still felt lingering fear. His descriptions of the bizarre phenomena led Klein to realize that the witch sect might be implicated in this tragedy. The individual who caused the maritime disaster was indeed Terry, a Sequence 8 Beyonder provoker. The Nighthawks mobilized to initiate an arrest operation. However, they were unsuccessful in apprehending him because Terry had by this time advanced to a Sequence 7 Beyonder, a witch. Due to this pathway causing a transformation from male to female, capture became exceedingly difficult, and Terry had also changed his name to Triss. The witch sect to which he belonged venerated the Primordial Witch. During a financial divination, Klein also first heard of the con artist, Lamrius. This individual was a mysterious Beyonder, renowned for his expertise in deception and disguise. He engaged in financial fraud and romantic scams, deceiving a lady named Melissa, causing her to become pregnant with his child, after which he irresponsibly disappeared. However, the meticulous Klein noticed that Melissa's reactions were somewhat abnormal, although he did not genuinely discover any specific issue, and the matter was thus left unresolved. Concurrently, sealed artifact 2049, for which the captain had applied, finally arrived in Tingen. This sealed artifact was a puppet. Prolonged proximity within a 5-meter radius of the artifact would gradually cause living beings to become puppet-like. Nevertheless, this sealed artifact was exceptionally useful in locating the Antagonist family notebook. Guided by the sealed artifact, the Nighthawk team swiftly located Real Bia's hiding place. However, just as the team was preparing to take action, a mysterious clown suddenly launched a surprise attack upon them. and both sides became engaged in a chaotic battle. The commotion generated by the battle caused Real Baya, who was indoors, to fail in his attempt to absorb the notebook's power, resulting in him losing control and transforming into a monster. The mysterious clown seized the opportunity and fled. The Nighthawk team was compelled to engage in combat with the monster. After a fierce exchange, the Nighthawk team successfully killed Real Baya, but all members were injured by the ensuing blast. Sealed artifact Tulo 49 happened to land right next to Klein, and Klein was instantly affected by the sealed artifact, becoming unable to move. Consequently, Klein laboriously performed a ritual, utilizing the power from above the gray fog to regain mobility. However, the clown who had just ambushed them suddenly reappeared. The clown, unaware of Klein's peculiar circumstances, informed Klein that the sequence 8 of the seer pathway was the clown, and offered to exchange a potion formula and assistance in restoring Klein's mobility for the notebook. Klein feigned agreement and, taking advantage of the situation, maneuvered the clown into the area of effect of sealed artifact Tuzo 49. The clown was affected and found it difficult to move. Klein drew his revolver and fired, successfully killing the clown. The Nighthawk team, after experiencing a moment of peril, obtained the notebook and brought the clown's corpse back to the office. Klein, having killed for the first time, approached the clown's corpse out of curiosity. Unexpectedly, the clown suddenly revived as a corpse, seized Klein's wrist, and continuously whispered, "Hornices," a bizarre scene that caused Klein to break out in a cold sweat, completely unaware of the meaning of the word. In order to seek answers, Klein returned to the university, intending to consult his former tutor for enlightenment. However, at the university, he did not encounter his tutor, but instead met Mr. Azik, his future bodyguard. Upon seeing Klein, Azik opened his mouth and offered a reminder. "There is a disharmony in your fate. Have you been frequently encountering coincidences recently?" Klein was inwardly startled, feeling that there had indeed been an excessive number of coincidences. Heeding the reminder, Klein hastily returned home and entered the gray fog once more to perform divination. Writing down the true cause of the Elliot kidnapping case, he unexpectedly beheld a garden lawn and a crimson-red chimney. The instant he saw this, the dreamscape shattered. Klein realized that he was genuinely being influenced by extraordinary factors, and moreover, that these extraordinary factors could affect the results of his divinations in reality. Subsequently, Klein visited Azik again, seeking to ascertain the truth. He learned that Azik was, in fact, a beyonder of formidable power, but had inexplicably lost his memories. To this end, Azik requested Klein's assistance in keeping an eye out for clues related to his lost memories, a request to which Klein readily agreed, and soon after, he did indeed make some discoveries. On this day, at the Divination Club, a young lady named Elizabeth, who had been frequently experiencing the same nightmare recently, came to seek Klein's assistance with divination. Klein discerned that she had once visited an ancient castle and was consequently being haunted by vengeful spirits. Upon recognizing the involvement of mystical elements, Klein reported to Captain Dunn. The Nighthawk team mobilized once more, surprisingly taking with them the sealed artifact, mutated Sun Holy Emblem, to the ancient castle. While a normal person remaining near this sealed artifact for an hour would transform into an idiot solely capable of praising the sun, it possessed the ability to purify corpses and ghosts. Utilizing the sealed artifact, the vengeful spirits within the ancient castle were reduced to ashes. Within the castle, Klein made a startling discovery. The portrait of the first Baron in the castle bore an uncanny resemblance to Mr. Zeke. Based on this, Klein surmised that Azik had lived for at least over 1,000 years, but that with each reincarnation, he would lose his previous memories. Klein resolved to inform Azik of this matter upon returning. However, at this moment, Klein, gazing at the sealed artifact, mutated Sun Holy Emblem, experienced a surge of reckless curiosity and, venturing above the gray fog, initiated a divination concerning the origin of the Sun Holy Emblem. Unexpectedly, he beheld the deity, the eternal blazing sun. Klein's body instantly burst into flames. Fortunately, with the aid of the mysterious power from above the gray fog, he narrowly escaped death. However, through this event, Klein gained two things. First, he obtained the potion formulas for the Sun Pathway, Sequence 9 Chanter and Sequence 8 Light Suppliant, and second, the knowledge that gods are not to be directly gazed upon. After returning, Klein informed Azik of his discoveries in the ancient castle. The two of them revisited the castle, and there, Azik awakened a portion of his memories and confirmed that a headless skeleton within the castle was indeed his son. Subsequently, Azik decided to depart from Tingen to seek his lost memories. Upon parting, Azik left Klein a copper whistle, with the promise that as long as the copper whistle was blown, Azik's bone servant would immediately appear to relay information between them. Following this, Klein divined whether to inform Dunn about Monsieur Azik's affairs, and received a negative answer. Just as he was about to depart from above the grey fog, Klein heard a young man plead. Here, it is necessary to introduce a place, Silver City. Silver City is the land forsaken by God mentioned in Rozel's diaries. Its geographical environment is extremely harsh. It is perpetually deprived of sunlight, and the sky above is constantly overcast, with lightning and thunder being commonplace. The duration of day and night is determined by the frequency of lightning. Periods with more lightning are considered daytime, while periods with lower lightning frequency are regarded as nighttime, with no fixed regularity to the length of day and night. Both the water and the land here conceal immense dangers, continuously accumulating unknown toxins or curses within living organisms. At this time, within Silver City, there was a youth named Derek, wielding a straight sword. He was in anguish and despair because he was compelled to personally kill his own parents. His parents had sustained grievous injuries and were on the verge of death, and Silver City was rife with curses. All deceased individuals would transform into terrifying wraiths unless their lives were ended by their own blood relatives. To prevent his parents from becoming wraiths, Derek ended their lives. Overwhelmed by grief, he returned home and prayed to the gods, hoping that the citizens of Silver City could be liberated from this fated curse. At this moment, Klein, situated above the grey fog, received the telepathic resonance. He drew Derek into the grey fog, and from this point onwards, the Tarot Club gained a new member, son Derek. In the subsequent Tarot gathering, Klein bestowed upon Derek the potion formula for the Sun Pathway Chanter. Derek formally became a Sequence 9 Beyonder, a Chanter. Following immediately after Mr. Hanged Man announced a piece of news. Hurricane Admiral Killingus, one of the 7 Parrot Admirals, had secretly infiltrated another city, Backland. Chulingus possessed the mystical item, Creeping Hunger, an artifact capable of commanding the souls of deceased Beyonders and transforming into the appearances of different individuals, albeit at the cost of requiring the soul and flesh of a living person for sustenance each day. Mr. Hanged Man requested Miss Justice's assistance in locating clues pertaining to Killingus. Miss Justice pledged to do her utmost to accomplish this. Subsequently, one evening before Klein retired to bed, he discovered a visitor in his room. This individual was Daly, the psychologist. Previously, Klein had informed Dunn that he had digested the potion in a short period of time. Dunn, feeling uneasy, had written a letter informing Daly. Thus Daly had already surmised that Klein was aware of the acting method. However, church regulations stipulated that individuals who knew the acting method must make a pledge, establishing an oath not to divulge the acting method to others. Daly, having already signed the oath, requested Klein to disclose the acting method to Dunn and also provided Klein with an incantation to petition her for aid. Thereafter, Klein informed Dunn and others that the acting method could expedite potion digestion and effectively control the risk of losing control. They also signed a non-disclosure agreement with the church, vowing not to disseminate this knowledge. However, Old Neil had learned of the acting method too late. On another front, Klein, before Mr. Zeke's departure, had requested a minor favor from him to create some supernatural events so that Klein could petition the church for the use of sealed artifact 30782, the mutated Sun Holy Emblem. This was in order to utilize the divine blood power within the sealed artifact to create Sun Flame charms, capable of enhancing his own strength. One day, Old Neil did not come to work. Klein felt a vague unease, and combining this with Old Neil's previously contradictory remarks, he immediately performed a divination, discovering that Old Neil's current condition was indeed abnormal. Upon learning of this, Captain Dunn promptly stood up and, taking Klein and Rod Miller with him, proceeded to Old Neil's residence. Slowly pushing open the door to his home, they found the interior filled with viscous, blood-colored liquid. Old Neil's graying head was suspended in mid-air, connected to the ceiling by thick strands of viscous fluid. A pair of eyes had sprouted on his forehead and cheeks respectively, cold, lashless eyes. Oblivious to his own monstrous state, Old Neil smiled radiantly and explained to the 3 men that he was attempting to resurrect his deceased lover, and success was imminent. Dunn employed his Beyonder ability to allow Old Neil to perceive his own transformed, monstrous form. Old Neil's face registered astonishment and despondency, which quickly morphed into a fawning and timid smile. "I will retreat into the deep mountains and never reappear," he pleaded. I will not harm anyone. I only wish to quietly continue my ritual. Please, let me leave, I beg you. How could a Sequence 9 Beyonder possibly resurrect the dead? Dunn, unwilling to shatter his delusion, utilized a sealed artifact to immobilize Old Neil. Upon seeing the dark, cavernous gun muzzle, Old Neil incessantly begged, recounting fragments of shared experiences with the team. Klein's right hand trembled violently, nearly losing his grip on his own pistol. At that moment, 2 gunshots rang out, bang bang, and Old Neil's head exploded. To accompany his deceased lover, Dunn muttered to himself, his figure stooped, "We are guardians," and also a group of pitiful wretches constantly fighting against danger and madness. Inside Old Neil's bedroom, Klein discovered what appeared to be the required materials, including a large quantity of fresh human blood. Below this notation, in handwriting specifically belonging to Old Neil, was written, "Extraction can be considered. My own blood, accumulated time after time." Klein closed his eyes, recalling his mentor, a senior who was both teacher and friend, remaining motionless for a long time. After several days, Nighthawks from Backland arrived in Tingen to assess Klein's potion digestion of the Seer potion. Klein passed the assessment smoothly and obtained the Clown potion, advancing to become a Sequence 8 clown. His bodily coordination was greatly enhanced, and his speed and strength also experienced a significant increase. Furthermore, he gained effective control over his facial expressions and body language, making his lies more readily believable. The newly acquired Beyonder abilities were twofold: Premonition of Inspiration and Paper Figurine Throwing Knife. Premonition of Inspiration referred to the ability to rely on inspiration to predict a target's next action. Paper Figurine Throwing Knife referred to the ability to transform thrown paper into throwing knives with formidable attacking power. One day, City Councilor Maynard died at his home. Due to his high-ranking position, his death led to a complete polarization between the Conservative Party and the New Party, and the police department was subjected to immense pressure. Klein was ordered to assist in the investigation. Through divination, viewing Maynard's final moments, Klein saw a young woman lying on his bed. Maynard was initially in a state of extreme pleasure, then pressed his chest, his expression contorted, and slowly collapsed. Divination revealed no signs of extraordinary factors at play. Klein concurred with the conclusion that the cause of death was excessive indulgence, and subsequently returned to the Blackthorn Security Company. On another front, in Backland, the capital of the Kingdom of Loan, at the request of the Hanged Man, Alger, the Spectator, Audrey began to seek out clues concerning the pirate Admiral Kalingus, and enlisted the assistance of her friends Forz and Ho. Due to a lack of financial resources to purchase the Sequence 8 potion formula and materials, Alger had been stuck at Sequence 9 for a long time. His 2 friends decided to help. Hoof daily pulled Forz along, seeking clues about Kalingus from morning till night. However, Kalingus, being cunning and perceptive, quickly sensed that someone was investigating him. He used his own movements as bait, attempting to ambush the 2. In a critical moment, Forz removed her bracelet, utilizing her ability to traverse space, and carried Hoof to safety, subsequently reporting the matter to the Spectator, Audrey. The latter shared the information with the Hanged Man and the Fool. During the Tarot gathering, the Hanged Man rose and addressed the Fool. "Respected Mr. Fool, should I obtain such information again, please permit me to chant your name and inform you through ritual." The Fool nodded gently in assent. Several days later, Klein's informant, Dast, arrived to report that Hodor Goran of the sanatorium had truly gone mad. Prior to this, Lanris, the con artist who swindled money and seduced women, had frequently visited him. The 2 seemed to be plotting a major conspiracy. Klein returned to the company to report and, together with the captain, immediately proceeded to the sanatorium. Under the auspices of a spirit channeling ritual, Klein entered Hodor Goran's dream, beholding a hanged giant stained with blood. He deduced that the conspiracy was related to the true creator. Just as he was about to delve deeper into the investigation, Hodor Goran suddenly lost control and transformed into a monster, and was killed by the 2 men. Meanwhile, Backland was also far from peaceful. The pirate Admiral Kalingus commenced his mission, the assassination of Duke Negan. This was driven both by the substantial reward and by his love of adventure and penchant for high-difficulty challenges. With Sequence 6 strength, supplemented by the sealed artifact, Creeping Hunger, he was indeed exceptionally powerful. Kalingus, utilizing the mystical item, Creeping Hunger, to disguise himself as a baron, successfully infiltrated the ball hosted by Duke Negan. However, unforeseen by him, among the attendees was Miss Audrey, the Spectator of Sequence 9, known for her keen observation, During a conversation with the Baron, she discerned anomalies and deduced that he was Killingus in disguise. She reported this to her father, Earl Hall, and to Mr. Fool. Earl Hall would naturally alert Duke Negan to be wary of the assassin. The Fool, Klein, situated in Tingen and of limited strength, could only relay the information to Mr. Zeke and the hanged man Alger. At the ball, Killingus created chaos, his figure silently appearing behind Duke Negan. His right fist, enveloped in rapidly rotating gale force winds, stabbed towards the target's back like a sharp blade. Duke Negan's figure gradually became transparent, and then rippled and dissipated. Killingus raised his head and saw him standing in the distance, a scrutinizing smile on his face. Realizing his mission had failed, Killingus immediately smashed through a window, using the wind to propel himself out of the Duke's mansion and towards the opposite woods. As a wind-blessed, adept at speed, his velocity extremely high, quickly shaking off the pursuers behind him. Just at this moment, his vision blurred, and hundreds of gigantic humanoid skeletons successively emerged around him, while a pitch black water surface appeared beneath his feet, rising continuously, with countless hands reaching out from within, constantly waving. The hanged man, Alger, had arrived just in time. Before he could react further, he suddenly saw Killingus's face rapidly decaying, with flesh falling off piece by piece. In less than 20 seconds, he completely disintegrated, transforming into a pile of rotten flesh and white bones. Alger's mind raced with speculation, concluding that the one capable of instantly killing Killingus and taking away the sealed artifact, Creeping Hunger, could only be a attendant of Mr. Fool. Mr. Fool is truly unfathomable. Indeed, the one who had taken action to assist Klein, and had already arrived in Backland seeking his memories, was Mr. Zeke. Several days later, Councillor Maynard's widow sought out the Nighthawks, commissioning them to investigate the cause of Maynard's death. She suspected that Sharon, the woman who had been in bed with him at the time, had assassinated her husband. Klein, thinking it was a routine assignment, and enticed by the substantial reward of 200 gold pounds, readily accepted. That night, he silently scaled the walls of Mrs. Sharon's mansion, traversed the garden, and climbed up the drainpipe to enter the second-floor balcony. Inside Mrs. Sharon's safe, Klein discovered a white bone sculpture of the deity, Primordial Witch, deducing that Mrs. Sharon was a Sequence 6 pleasure magician. Alarmed, he immediately returned to the company to report. Captain Dunn, his face grave, summoned Klein and, together with Rod Miller, brought a level 3 sealed artifact to Mrs. Sharon's residence. The ensuing battle was exceptionally perilous. Klein was compelled to utilize the crafted charms in order to turn the tide and achieve victory, but Rod Miller tragically perished in the battle. Subsequently, while Leonard and Klein were investigating the Lonrius case, they unexpectedly discovered a letter mentioning that a bomb had been planted in Tingen, which would grow stronger over time and eventually destroy Tingen. Just as the two were pondering the meaning of the bomb, in the letter, Melissa, the woman whom Lanrius had deceived and impregnated, suddenly arrived. Recalling Melissa's strange words from their previous encounter, and observing her inexplicable visit today, Klein sensed that the woman's mental state was deteriorating further. He prepared to activate his spirit vision to investigate. However, at this moment, he suddenly froze in place, a thought incessantly flashing through his mind. Cannot look. To look is to die. In an instant, Klein understood that the bomb, mentioned by Lenry, is perhaps not a literal bomb, but rather the unborn child before him. Because gods cannot be directly gazed upon, and this child was the progeny of an evil god. It turned out that Lenrius had obtained a ritualistic magic related to the true creator from the Aura Order, and with the assistance of Hodder Gorn from the Sanatorium, had made Melissa the vessel for gestating the evil god's offspring. The deaths of a large number of civilians in recent times were precisely for the purpose of utilizing grievance to accelerate its growth. Now, the evil god's offspring was on the verge of being born. Klein dared not delay and quickly reported to the captain. Upon hearing this, Captain Dunn and the others immediately reported upwards, requesting reinforcements, and simultaneously retrieved Saint Selena's ashes, a level 1 sealed artifact only to be used in dire emergencies. At this moment, Melissa began to exhibit abnormalities. The evil god's offspring sensed danger and began frantically drawing power. It was about to descend into the world. Klein, Dunn, and Leonard together commenced a desperate battle against the evil god's offspring. Faced with the immensely powerful progeny of an evil god, Leonard was directly struck and lost consciousness. Klein, wielding a sealed artifact, struggled to hold on. In order to prevent the evil god's offspring and save Tingen City, Captain Dunn personally reached into his chest, extracted his own heart, and placed it into Saint Selena's ashes. A surge of immense power erupted. After a burst of intense light, a charred umbilical cord lay where Melissa had stood. They had succeeded. Dunn, his face pale, turned his head to look at Klein, a gentle and relieved smile on his face. "We saved Tingen," he said. Having uttered these words, his heart ceased to beat and his body fell backward, collapsing onto the ruined ground. Captain Dunn had fallen in battle. However, before Klein could even succumb to grief, he suddenly felt a piercing pain in his chest. A pale hand emerged from his left chest, stained with blood. Klein instantly fell to the ground, his gaze losing focus. The Saint Selena's ashes in his hand vanished without a trace. When Leonard slowly opened his eyes, he saw only the corpses of the captain and Klein. His legs weakened, and he sank to his knees, his emerald eyes filled with anguish. Upon learning that the mastermind behind everything was the apostate former Archbishop, Zangwil, the despondency and despair on Leonard's face vanished, replaced by flames of hatred burning in his eyes. He joined the elite Red Gloves team within the Nighthawks. After arranging for the handling of the corpses, he stepped out of the door to notify Klein's family. Klein's younger sister, Melissa, upon hearing the devastating news of her brother's death, widened her eyes incrementally, her body swaying almost imperceptibly, and the 3 opera tickets in her hand slipped weakly to the ground. Klein's older brother, Benson, remained in the washroom for a prolonged period. Raising his head to look at the wash-basin mirror, he saw his own reflection, his face streaked with water droplets, his eye sockets reddened beyond concealment. In the Raffles Cemetery at night, the crimson moonlight shone upon the grounds, casting an atmosphere of indescribable tranquility and desolation. The stone slab ceiling of a burial pit was moved, and a hand emerged from the earth. The coffin lid was pushed open. Klein sat up, gazing about with a slightly bewildered expression. Just as with his transmigration and suicide resurrection, Klein had revived once more. However, this time, the rate of wound healing was noticeably slower. Calming himself, he walked along, guided by the moonlight, until he arrived before Captain Dunn's tombstone. Lowering his head, he read the epitaph, "A true guardian, the most trustworthy comrade, forever our captain." Klein could no longer restrain himself. Tears streamed down his face, drop by drop. After a long while, he finally regained composure, silently performing 4 steps counter-clockwise to ascend above the gray fog. He divined that his enemies, Zangwil and Landris, were both in Backland, and that his hope for becoming stronger also lay in Backland. Thus, the next day, he retrieved the 300 gold pounds given by the Hange man, the provider of the Spectator potion, and purchased a train ticket to the capital, Backland. Before departing, he caught a final glimpse of his brother and sister beside a circus troupe. Their expressions were somber, their faces gaunt. Klein tightly pursed his lips, wanting to approach, yet did not have the courage to. Observing the various clowns performing before them, an idea suddenly struck him. After a moment, a clown appeared before his brother and sister, conjuring a bouquet of acai-ville flowers and presenting them to the two. The flowers were golden yellow in color, symbolizing happiness. Klein's brother and sister, slightly bewildered, looked up at the clown before them, seeing a face painted with various colors, the corners of the mouth upturned high, fixed in a joyful smile, an exaggerated smile, a comical smile. Thus concludes Volume 1 of Lord of the Mysteries Clown. To viewers interested in Lord of the Mysteries, please do not forget to like and subscribe.